Should be going live. Sure, we should be live in 1 minute. Be live right now. Live. Let's see. All right, we should be streaming live. Let me double check. So, yep, we are live. We are officially live. Let me pull this up. So, welcome to anybody that is joining immediately, and for those that are going to be joining on a restream. Normally, we take the first minute or two to work out any of the technical kinks to make sure that we're streaming perfectly. And welcome to the newly branded HODL review, and we'll talk briefly about why the name change. And you know, we have a great show planned for today that I'm really looking forward to. We've got a new team, new innovation, and also joining a space that that many of us track very, very passionately. So let's just give it a couple of minutes. We have people bouncing in the room right now, and we'll let everybody kind of get well positioned. And I'm pulling up the stream, and right now the stream looks pretty solid. As we're waiting, let's do a quick sound check just to make sure I've got all the audio on. And so we'll start with Gillum and kind of work our way down.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
The audio seems to be going through. Let me pull up the live chat, and we'll get some thumbs up. We have XRP Carolina that's already in the chat. Carl Lewis in the chat. If you guys could give us a thumbs up just to acknowledge that you guys can hear the audio one more time, Gillum.
Hi, one more time.
Great. All right, Paul.
Yes. Yes.
Great.
Can you hear me?
And Zach.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Great. You sound like Houston. All right, so we get a lot of good comments in. We got some thumbs up here. Gaming Crypto. All right, so we'll give it a couple minutes as the word gets out. Hey guys, as you bounce in, if you could do me a favor and just tweet it out, that'd be really helpful. And then we'll get things moving forward here in a couple minutes. So in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about coffee, because I think coffee's an important thing to start the day. And I know over in France, coffee is also relatively important. What?
Yes, it is.
There you go. There you go. What kind of coffee do you guys prefer? Do you typically drink a dark roast French press, or do you prefer an espresso?
So for me, it's really espresso, very dry, very tiny, and very strong. You know, I get 2 in the morning, so I'm sure I wake up, and then I'm good for the day usually. Right.
Yeah. How about you, Paul? Same thing.
At home, I use a French press with like a how do you call it? It's like a caramelized coffee, and then here I take like 4 coffees from the machine, where it's more espressos.
Okay. All right, and Zach.
You guys are gonna think I'm funny, but I don't actually drink coffee. So, but yeah, I have tried coffee. I like dark. Just I don't like all the fruit stuff. So.
Right.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Same with me. I prefer espresso. We start today with espresso pretty much every day, and we have one of the little stovetop, espresso makers, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's interesting. I don't know that I'm an espresso or coffee snob, but I have someone bring coffee from overseas. So he comes in. So we have friends and work colleagues that travel a lot. And so every time my wife works with a colleague that brings us coffee every single month from overseas. And it's you can't get it in the United States. That's why it's made by Segfredo. And you can only, and it's just that version of it. It's typically also only commercial. And so we get that, and that's awesome. It's fantastic. Okay. So, all right. So people are going to start bouncing in. It takes a little bit, and then we'll get started. So let me do just a quick overview. And I was really happy that Alan, reached out to me from your company and asked, to see, if we could put something together and talk to you guys and start to put you guys on, some of the live streams on YouTube and really start introducing you to the community, and really that's what it's all about. So, so just to, kind of give a little intro and into, what you guys are doing, and then we'll kind of, introduce each one of you and hear, just a little bit of a background, from each one of you. But, so as I look at it, and we talk a lot on this channel, and we follow, very passionately what's happening within the payment space. Many within this community follow what happens with Ripple and the RippleNet solution as it applies to transfer payments and remittance payments. And obviously, over the past couple weeks, that has exploded with what happened with Facebook, and the head of their new Calibra program and their new LibraCoin, being dragged in front of Congress, and going through 2 rigorous days of questioning in front of Congress. And what it's brought to light is that the digital payment space is probably, one of the more important use cases for digital assets that exist today. And it's probably going to be the most highly competitive space. And, if we look back in time, we go back to even the competition that went on before, PayPal really hit their moment. But that was really the beginning, I think, of that digital payment, so to speak, space. And then as we fast forward, then we see, Google has tried to compete to get into a digital payment space. Apple has tried to compete to get into the digital payment space, but none of them have done it efficiently. None of them have done it cost effectively. And now that we see this growth within the digital asset space, we finally see that opportunity. So this is one of your primary focus points, it seems like, is to get into this payment space and compete, there. Obviously, also within this remittance space, which is probably, with the greatest potential within remittance, meaning, smaller P2P type cross-border payments from foreign workers to the more impoverished countries where they came from. Right now, as we've seen with them, the way for them to move money back home is extremely expensive and slow, and is definitely a broken process. And one of the things that we also talk a lot about on this program is to really focus also, and I don't say we focus on it a lot, but I bring it up, is how the digital asset space is going to impact the unbanked throughout the world, and providing them with an opportunity to participate in the global economy, which I think is really important. And obviously within that space also, there's a lot of competition popping up, even on the P2P side. Obviously we see what's going on with LibraCoin. On the corporate side, you have Ripple, you have Stellar, you have R3, you have many others. And so what we want to do is talk a little bit about what you guys are bringing to the stage with X Network. One of the things that I identified really, and I could be wrong with this, but this is what really stood out to me, is that one of your solutions that you're developing, again, in my opinion, is really the WordPress of blockchain. It's like a plug and play mechanism to bring blockchain to the mainstream companies. So if I wanted to bring blockchain to my company, I don't have to go out and hire a programmer. I can turn to the X blockchain and I can incorporate blockchain into whatever I'm doing to streamline my business flow. And to me, that's the innovation. I haven't seen many others that have accomplished that, or any that have been able to accomplish anything like that successfully. And real world utility and added value to this space and being unique is really significant. Before I make some introductions, just real quick, X Network and X Cash is listed on 5 different exchanges. And so I think that's a great starting point. I believe you guys have been around since 2018, which was your launch, so maybe going into about a year and a half. The 5 exchanges that you're currently on, let's see, Stex, Graviex, Trade, Satoshi, Cytex, and Hotbit. And then you have different pairings with different coins. Primarily, it seems like your primary pairing is BTC, LTC, and ETH. Even though I see one here on Trade Satoshi with Dogecoin as well. And also on Graviex. So So with that, let me make a quick introduction and then hear from you guys quick, give us a little bit of a background. We'll also make some time, as we go through different topics, to open up some Q&A to people. So today we're joined by the CEO of X Network, which is Guillem, and I might butcher your last name too, Chamant. The Chamant. And then we've okay. Then we got the CFO of X Network, Paul Bagenot. I don't know.
Hey,
okay, and it's funny.
Bugno. It's pronounced Bugno, like the French way.
Okay,
but you can say Bugnut. I'm used to it.
Right. Yeah. Especially if you talk to people in the United States that don't speak French, you're gonna have all sorts of funny pronunciations. And then we've also got Zach Hildreth. I pronounced that right, Zach?
Yep.
I got that one, and I got Zach right, so that's pretty good. And it's funny, so Paul, and this came up on the stream. So on Monday, we talked a little bit about X Network, and they compared your picture online to
David Schwimmer.
Friends.
This is actually the first time I hear that.
Okay.
I thought that was quite funny. I'm not sure it's a compliment. I don't take it as it.
No, I'm sure it was.
He is not that popular in France, that's why. But it's.
Oh, really? Oh, is that true? Okay.
It looks really close to him in any case. So yeah, we laughed a lot when we saw that.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, in the U.S., there's no negative implication at all, and so yeah. So all right, let's go around the table, make a quick intro, and then we'll get a little bit into the history, and I want to open this up also to anybody that's coming in. Shoot some questions over. I'll try to monitor the stream over here as you're going and document the question as we go. So go ahead, Guillem. Why don't you start? Just give us a little brief background history, how you got into blockchain and really into the X network as well.
Okay. So hi, everyone. And first of all, thank you very much for having us today. We are extremely happy and excited to be here. I also want to thank you for all the feedbacks you have given us already and the one that will come after. And I really want to invite the people in the chat to raise any questions they may have. We will be happy to answer them. And of course, as you started to introduce the payment use case is a very interesting use case for blockchain. So I think we'll have time to cover that as well. So about myself, my name is Guillem Chaumont. I'm 28 years old. I have initially a background in engineering, in energy engineering. Actually, I worked in nuclear research for a few years. I did also a dual master degree in finance. So I worked as a trader in a bank called HSBC for about 2 years. And in the last summer, I actually quit my job to start this wonderful and exciting project. To try to change things, or at least deliver some interesting features into the space. And the way I started to interest myself about crypto and blockchain, I think it was in early 2017, something like this, when we all saw Ethereum spiking from a few $1,000 to 100. So as everyone, I got excited, especially as a trader. I saw this asset increasing. I already heard of Bitcoin, of course, and then I started to dig, and I was like, yeah, it's quite interesting from a technological perspective. So I started to invest, started to trade, started to download the wallet, synchronize the blockchain, mine also, because I created a mining company at some point. And yeah, eventually that led me to quit my job because I really love this. And I think there are so many interesting things to do.
Awesome. That's great. That's fantastic. Yeah, I like that story. So Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Paul Bugnot. So I'm 28 years old. I'm going to be 28 tomorrow, actually.
Happy birthday.
So I have a background in engineering as well, but in nanotechnology engineering, so material sciences. And I worked as a patent attorney. I also worked previous to joining Guillem with X Network. I worked in a startup distributing nanotechnology solutions in France. And I always had an interest into blockchain, I think back in 2014, but just like looking it from far away. And then we came in contact with Guillem and actually did a deep dive into blockchain and cryptocurrency when I joined him. So March 2018.
Okay, great. And Zach?
Oh, hi everyone. So I'm Zach Hildreth. So yeah, I didn't know anything about like computers or programming until like my first day of high school actually, and I got into it. And yeah, before I thought I was gonna be like a veterinarian or something like that. Um, and yeah, I got into cryptocurrency. I heard about it in 2011, and I didn't really do anything with it back then. I was like, oh, whatever. And then I got into it right after, I'd say like 3 months after Mount Gox crash. And I started researching it. Took a few months to research it, and I was like, whoa, this stuff is like really valuable asset in my opinion. So I started buying some, and I didn't really care if it went up or down. I was just buying it because I thought it was a valuable asset. So to this day, I still think it is. But yeah, so that's how I got into cryptocurrency, and then I got into mining about a few months before this. I bought some mining rigs, started mining different like Monero style coins and stuff. So yeah.
Nice. All right, you guys all had invested in digital asset before starting X Network. Is that it?
Yeah.
All mining,
Yes.
it seems like, right? All you
So
mined as well.
to give you the
sorry.
full story, we
Yeah.
actually funded this company through our earnings, and right now we also have a trading market making desk on options on bitcoins on Deribit. Maybe
Oh,
you guys
nice.
have heard of it. So that's actually what is financing the company. Maybe we'll discuss about that later. But we haven't
Yeah.
done any ICO, we haven't done any seed round. So yes, it's really the cryptocurrency and the trading activity that has funded the company at first.
Oh, that's awesome. I really that's a great story to tell, because it seems like, to be able to self-fund a company, through your own efforts and set that up, I think is outstanding. I mean, that's really, the spirit of innovation is to try to self-fund, get it to a point where then you bring in, you don't want to be beholden to the investors, and if you can avoid being beholden to investors, you can continue down your mission and your vision without being manipulated by outside influence.
I could not agree more with you. I mean, I think it's maybe the dream of most of the people, to earn enough money so that you can realize your dreams. So for some people, realizing dreams are, buying a big car or whatever it can be. Huh? Every dream are valuable as any other.
Yeah.
And really for us, it was to build something great. So we are actually very lucky, and we realize it to be able, to be kind of not free, because you are always free in the Western countries,
Yeah.
as far as I know. But yeah, I'm sure you see what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
From a financial perspective, at least we are comfortable and we can follow the path that we want. And that's why we are, really focusing on what we like, which is the technology right now. And that's actually very cool.
Okay, great. All right, so what we're going to get into today, and I want to go through some of the questions. We definitely want to understand more about the background of X Network, the future of X Network, what some of your plans are. We're going to get a little bit, if you don't mind, a little bit into some other more in-depth questions that came up. So what I really want to start with though is focusing on what I started a little bit about the history, but just to clarify, I was kind of on the right page. Focusing in on here. Let me just pull this up. I'm just scrolling down, which in my opinion would be in the space, which again is bringing blockchain to mainstream business as a plug and play initiative. And so again, the way I look at it was kind of like a WordPress. What WordPress has done for websites, it seems like you guys are going to be able to do blockchain for mainstream business. Is that accurate? Was I on? Is that the right understanding?
So yes, it's very close to what we are trying to achieve, and probably Zach will tell you more about the technical details of these side chains.
Okay.
Basically, the story behind it is that we have been building a technology since 1 year now, and you can have a look on our GitHub. You will see it's pretty active.
Yep.
And a few months ago, we realized that okay, it's very valuable for us and maybe for the people in our community, but at some point, I mean, it can be valuable to anyone. So really, the idea is to open source it, to of course put an additional layer on top of that to make it more accessible, because not necessarily everyone wants to to pull out data from GitHub directly. So really that's really the long-term vision for the sidechain technology, to have some kind of really plug and play solution where you basically just to have to hit a few clicks. Of course, you have to pay money because nothing is free in our world, and that money will be used to retribute the miners. I mean, what we call the delegates, and eventually you can have your own blockchain.
Okay, awesome. That's great. So, all right, so let's start here. Let's go. We heard how you got started in the history. Understand your backgrounds a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the objective. What's the objective overall of X Network? And let's break them down because you have 4 different objectives listed on your website, and it seems like you're taking on a lot. You know, and you're taking on a big competitive space with what you're bringing to the table. So we have X Cash, X Blockchain, which we just referenced. We have X Bank and X Payment. So if you want to start kind of your overall what X Network, what that really means, and then let's break them down and figure out what's your primary business purpose, to clarify.
So I think I would split our objectives into 2 categories. The first one is really a pure core technology category, because we love the technology first to really deliver some new technologies, and these are the public transactions, the delegated proof of stake, and the side chains. And the other one is to build real world products. So that's really the split between our technology that is open source and that we don't make money from, the Xcash, and then the other products we are trying to build, such as X Payment, X Bank, and so on. So I think right now we are only 1 year old. Actually, we'll be 1 year old on the 30th of July, and we are still in an exploratory phase. We are trying to identify where our added value is, and we have already started to do some things. So we think there is definitely some room to create something interesting in the payments business. So that's why we released X Payments. It's already in alpha since May. I don't think it's reflected on our website, unfortunately, but we'll discuss more about that after.
Yep.
So yeah, I think X Payment is currently in alpha phase and is working very interestingly. So the idea is to make peer-to-peer payments directly on Discord. Allow frictionless payments between the users to quickly exchange value, quickly withdraw them. I mean, try to make things a bit easier for the people.
Okay.
And also among these, we have what we call the X Bank. So you might have seen it. Basically, it's nothing revolutionary. It's a facility to store crypto assets. So right now we only have our crypto asset. So it's very similar to some extent to an exchange. And we don't even have the exchange feature in yet. So here the idea is really for the users to log in, create a regular account, but they can still store their crypto, and they can also benefit from the airdrop because we have a big airdrop program. So actually we give out at current market rates, I think we're giving about $30 per month and per user who register. So there are some conditions, but it's working out pretty well so far. It's a 20-month airdrop program. And of course we have the B2B solution that is a whole topic itself. Yep. And that we have made a lot of progress on this in the last month. But still, I would say exploratory phase. We are 1 year old, self-funded. We are at the seed round stage. So it would be very pretentious to say that we are going to change the world. We have done some interesting things, definitely. And these things have been reflected in the market cap because it has only been increasing. But it's just the beginning of a long-term road of work.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. And it's funny. Carl Lewis, one of the list viewers here, said that we're looking at the 3 of you guys with what you guys are working on. All right, so let's dig in a little bit more then, and if you can go down and maybe then X Cash, X Bank, and one of the things that I saw, which to me, when I look at anybody who wants to manage funds, whether it's digital asset or cash funds, I think it's really critical that the solution is secure. You had mentioned on your website security. To me, being very, very transparent in presentation is critical. And when I see verbiage or anything like that that's a little bit vague, that's concerning. And I think it potentially undermines the overall project. When when there's not enough transparency, or the words kind of leave people hanging, where there's not enough information for people to dig into. So, one of the points here, and there's some other question, but I think this is kind of relevant right now. One of the things that you brought up was, it's, you can feel secure and safe with your digital asset holdings because, you have safety measures in place. But then the safety measure statement kind of leaves everybody hanging, and I found it to be a little bit vague. And I hope you guys don't mind the critique as we go through this. My intent isn't to, try to belittle your project or era in any way, but to really dig in and maybe find some areas of solution, of improvement. But one of the things that I saw, was, again, the statement, safety measures, and, the statement from your website, it says, keeping funds safe is our primary concern, which I think is awesome. And, to designate the customer's funds, I think is even more important. But you're using a combination of multi-signature wallets and cold storage solutions to guarantee the integrity of your assets, which I think is key. But to me, I would also want to see then, what does that mean by multi-signature wallet, and what is your cold storage solution? And maybe I'd been, very important to take it to that next step for especially new, someone newly finds your website. How do I distinguish your solution from everybody else? Because I want to know that you're providing a real solution with real world application and utility, and this statement is true. So where is that information? And and I think that part's critical, as a starting point. Yeah.
So thank you very much for your question. And of course, there is no bad critics. We are always looking for the critics. The good critics are good. I mean, they make us happy, but they're not really useful to make us grow. So that's really the kind of critics we are looking for. I could not agree more with you. Maybe we need a bit of clarification. And actually, there are a bit more information on the X-Bank website. So with regards to our safety measures, we actually have 3 safety measures that we have put in place. The first one is the combination of cold and hot fund storage. So right now we have approximately 97% of the funds of our clients that are stored in cold storage. So meaning that the wallet are completely offline in a different computer that is not connected to the internet. That's the first thing. So when you make a withdrawal on the X-Bank, you are actually hitting the hot wallet, but this wallet has never more than 3%. So that's really the maximum that is put at stake in case of a hack.
Yeah, let me ask you real quick, not to interrupt you, but are you managing that cold storage, or are you using a custodian, third party?
Okay, no, so this is currently done in-house through a multi-signature wallet. So that's the second component of the security, where the signatures are split between the team. Actually, the team that you have in the call right now. So myself, Zach, and Paul. And so whenever we want to move the funds around, all of us need to sign it, and then we can publish the transaction on the network. So that's also an additional safety measure. But right now we are not using a third party. The reason for that is, but there are actually multiple. The first one is that it's expensive and we don't have the funds to do it. The second reason is that we don't even have enough funds to put in custody. We are not holding any BTC right now. The only asset we are storing is our own assets, and there are about, I think, 5 billion X cash that we are holding. So even in terms of market capitalization, we are not looking at something tremendous. We are not Coinbase for sure.
Right.
So yeah, we really feel that right now there is no need. Of course, when we start to onboard additional assets, this is something that we will clearly review. Mm-hmm. And we will put, we have said it and it is true, the safety measures are really our primary concern. So whenever it is needed, we will put it in place. And the last security measure that we have in place, I do want to mention it, is the monitoring. So we are constantly monitoring the withdrawals that are done. Are they matching the amounts that are on our internal databases? That kind of things that will trigger us any warning in terms of malicious attacks.
Okay, so one of the things that comes up to me that could be, and maybe you can address this a little bit more, because I think this is a really important point. If you're self-managing a cold storage, if we look at what happened over in Canada not that long ago, which is Quadriga CX, where the CEO, and there's still a lot of suspicion based on money movement and what he did to manage those funds. Obviously, that was an exchange. Obviously, you're not running an exchange. However, you are managing cold storage. What is your safety mechanism in place? Do you to have really a backup plan, not to say something's going to happen to any one of you, but do you, if you all three have to sign off on it, or if it's an online act, what safety mechanism do you have in place to manage that?
So yeah, of course, the Quadriga story is very interesting and reminds us how important it is to always store the keys somewhere. So with regards to that, the measures that we have is that, first of all, it's a 2 out of 3 wallet, multi-signature wallet that we have. So whenever one of the team member loses their key, but we are able to identify it because he will mention it, and we will be able to move the funds into another wallet. But this being said, this is not enough. So that's why we are also keeping the seed in a bank vault. So on written paper, the most the good old fashioned way. And it's always funny to think that we need to store cryptocurrency in banks. I think it's quite interesting, but that's also one other safety measure that we have. So in worst case scenario, if we lose all our PCs, we will be able to recover the wallet still. Of course, that will take days, even potentially weeks. Probably not to that extent, but you see what I mean.
Yep.
So yeah, we have put a few measures.
Okay, so another point here, and yeah, I've been involved, in other projects, or worked with groups in other projects that are critical to maintain data with redundant backup, and so having redundant backup, having it secured in an off-site location. Where do you manage the computers that are keeping the cold wallets? Are they on-site or off-site, and do you have redundant backup?
So no, we don't. Also, to be clear, we don't. You are really going deep into this question. I like it. No, we don't have any backups. I mean, if each individual is managing their own backup. The way I personally do it is that I store it on an encrypted USB flash drive. Now we could ask Paul and Zach about how they manage it, but I do not have any backup because my backup is the seed that is written on paper and stored in the bank vault.
Okay, that's key. That's key. Okay, all right. So that's awesome. All right, so let's go a little bit more here. Let me go back up. So let's talk a little bit about the payment. And I need to look this up because there's a question that came in the beginning from Gaming Crypto, which is, and I've never heard of this one either. So it's always, leave it to someone in the chat to bring something up great that we're gonna dig into here. It's called, and I don't know if you guys have heard of it, ASG Blockchain. So his question was regarding ASG Blockchain. They don't have a token. They only offer service. I'm not sure if you know. I'm just opening it up right now. If you guys want to take a minute to look it up, we can talk about something else as you go through it. But I thought it was a good question. It says here, we are, this says an about us. We're a team of longtime blockchain and crypto developers that have been active in the space since 2011. We've spent the last 2 years building products that we believe bring real world utility to blockchain. Now I'm trying to figure out what they're doing. Let's see. Okay, what we can do for you. Let's go to that. That'll be a little bit better. So they have custom blockchain solutions. That's what we wanted to find. Okay, so our distributed ledger system can create either a centralized or decentralized environment based on your needs. This is a significant discussion which hopefully can avoid the question, but what does decentralization really mean? Our network is not only fully tested, but live and deployed in one of the fastest blockchains available today. Seems a little bit different. It seems like you're still relying on them to build the custom solution. But are you guys familiar with it? And maybe you can explain how you differentiate. If you're not familiar with it, we don't have to get into it right yet. It's up to you guys.
I'm going to be totally honest. I'm absolutely not familiar with it, but maybe
Okay.
Zach has some insights.
No, I'm not familiar with it either.
Okay. All right. Maybe we can save that for another discussion. Unless Zach, you dig into it while we're talking about some other points here. So let's go into the payment space then. Yeah, and you mentioned similar. How do you compete on the payment side? How do you compete with, let's say, a Stellar, or even a obviously forget about LibraCoin because that's a that's a whole different world. But let's talk about some of the the pure digital asset, cryptocurrency, blockchain type solutions like a Stellar. How would you is your payment solution going to be focused just on general P2P payments, or is it B2B? Is it B2C? I guess that's a good starting point. Also, what is your goal within the payment side?
So
Um,
go ahead, Zach.
okay, so well, with the payments, we're not trying to be like sub-second payments. Eventually, um, once we get delegated proof of stake out, we will have side channels, and those will allow you to kind of like the Lightning Network, run Xcash to Xcash to people on a side channel. That will also significantly be faster. I mean, we're talking like probably 10 seconds. So that will be quicker. Kind of like I think Ripple's at like 3 or something. So we're not talking about instant payments, but we're talking about faster. The other thing with the payments is we're offering something unique here with the public transactions on a crypto note protocol coin. So the reason why we did public transactions was because um, we wanted to recreate the digital fiat system. I know it sounds a little funny, but if you think about it, what do we have right now before this? We had Bitcoin, which is public transactions to public transactions. I can see your balance. You can see my balance when we do a transaction. We had Monero, which is completely private. You cannot send a public transaction. We had Zcash, which was you could. It's with a transparent or a shielded address, but the problem with that is you had to have two different wallets to do that, and you had to kind of preload money to say like, okay, maybe I'll spend some on the transparent, maybe I'll spend some on the shielded. So with our public transactions, it's recreating the digital fiat system. So if you think about it, you have most of your money in a bank account. It's in one account usually. Same thing with us. You have one wallet. If you go to the store, let's say you want to buy some ice cream. You go there. You can on the spot say, okay, I want to do a credit card, which is a public transaction, or I want to pay by cash. That's a private transaction. Same thing with us. On a per transaction basis from the same wallet, you can decide public transaction, private transaction. From that, then you basically it will you can send a public or a private transaction. What we do is in the store example, when I buy ice cream from the store, I don't see the store's balance. He doesn't see my balance, and he doesn't know where I got the money from. I could have got it from a friend, could have got it from my job. He doesn't know. That increases the fungibility of the coin. So that's exactly what our public transactions show. We're still using stealth addresses from Monero. We're still using ring CT from Monero to hide the inputs of where the money came from. The stealth addresses will hide the balances and where the funds are going to, but we're making available what you would want in a public transaction, which is my address sent your address X amount, and then I got to change back because we're on a UTXO system. So in our case, that is one unique thing that we're bringing to a crypto note protocol that no one's brought to before.
Mm.
So that was also a goal for the payments solution part.
Okay, interesting. All right, I'm sure we'll get. Hey, guys that are watching, definitely throw in some questions as we go. One thing that you'll see in here, we get a lot of internal banter back and forth, and a lot of jokes get passed around. One of the things, if you looked up, so we've been talking a lot about the Yeti coin. Yeti coin is something that kind of came up through one of our discussions. You look into the space, and that was way back up, but you look in the space, and obviously there's a lot of funny things that happen overall with riddles and predictions and all of that. But one of our chats. We came up with this Yeti coin and came up with this whole background over that. But just real quick, for those of you that might have bounced in recently, we've got the CEO, CTO, and COO or CFO. Did I make COO of X Network with us? We've got Guillem in the top left corner, which he's the CEO. We have Paul in the bottom left corner. He is the COO. And we have Zach in the bottom right corner, who's the CTO of X Network. And we're digging in and talking a little bit about X Network. RTB brought up something funny, which I thought, I just want to point it out now. So up until a couple days ago, my channel was under the HODL Report. And then earlier in the week, I got a message from somebody on Twitter that had my exact name and told me that he trademarked my name and that he requested that I cease and desist using my name that I've been using for well over a year. So to take the easier approach, he did in fact trademark it. So now apparently RTB was late coming to today's stream because he was busy trademarking the HODL review. Thank you very much, RTB, and we'll make that we'll make that change again. I'll sell you the HODL review name if you'd like. That's up to you. So. All right, let me go through here. So we also have, just so you guys know, we have the XRP Minute. He hosts a live stream on the similar times that I do, but on opposite days. So I stream typically Monday and Wednesday evenings. The XRP Minute streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we also have the Digital Nomad Investor. Both of these guys have very, very interesting backgrounds. Between the three of us, I think we bring a significant amount to the community. And so we have Digital Nomad Investor, who typically streams out of Thailand, is currently in the U.S. Working, doing some business in the U.S. We're actually going to meet for the first time next week at some point, or the first week of August. So Digital Nomad Investor also does a lot, has an interesting background working with government, and really digs in a lot into this payment space, and has a great following. And he's built up a really nice live stream channel. He streams Monday through Fridays at 9 p.m. So you've got two very good streamers that have bounced in here. And so let me see here. Just scrolling up, I want to pinpoint, and then we also have Sincerely George. She's newer to streaming, and she recently just started YouTube streaming, I believe about a week ago, and she's already starting to get a little bit of a following. And all three of them are also very active within the community. We also many times get within our listener base and following base. We have many that are extremely active within the Twitter community. That haven't come online. And one thing that I like doing that I've been focused in on is bringing the voice of the community, out. Those that are active viewers are active on Twitter, whatever it is, to get a chance to hear from them as well. So it's great. I'm glad that they're here. So let's dig in a little bit more. I just wanted to make those intros. So we kind of get a good idea where you guys are right now. Where would you say what's your future? Where would you like to be with X Network? Let's say a year from now, 3 years from now. I mean, this space changes so rapidly. Month to month. Obviously that the picture could look a little bit different. A year from now, with especially if we see more government clarity, regulatory clarity. If we see a utility spike with some of these real world use cases, where do you guys see yourselves moving at this point?
So I can tell you, because we are working on our birthday, that will be our 1 year birthday, that will be in a few days. And whenever I think about this birthday, I just remind myself that we started 1 year ago. And 1 year ago, we had basically nothing. It was just Zach, Paul, and myself. And I'm sure in 1 year from now, where we'll be extremely excited. Now, where we want to go, first of all, we want to deliver the technology. delivering the technology is really what is important for us, and that's why we have been under the radar for a while, because we haven't done significant communication. But those who have followed us from the start know how our GitHub is active, how we have released many things. So right now we are really 1 year from now working on delivering the 3 components that we are working on. The
Okay.
public transactions, this part is done. The delegated proof of stake, this part is done and is already available on GitHub. And of course the side chains, because the side chains are the key for scalability and for business. So I think the next year will be more or less the same it has been during this year. Hard work, under the radar, keep on focusing, deliver the technology, make the GitHub work, make the cryptocurrency work, and try, of course, to make it grow a bit. That's what we have done over the past year. We went from 100K market cap to 4 million. And then after, things, I think, will start to get interesting. I think this is after that we will start to really work on the real world case. So of course, the B2B solution for sidechain is really, I think, the key. And I think this is really where we can have some added value.
Mm-hmm.
And try to to grab some market share. Of course, we need to be dynamic, because you said it's a fast changing environment. So we already did a rebranding 6 months ago to adapt to the cryptocurrency ecosystem. So I'm 100% sure that we will need to adapt in the next 1 to 3 years to where the market is going. And that's why also we are reviewing all these use cases of banking, payments, B2B, because we don't know where the market will go. Maybe payment will work, maybe it won't. It seems that it will, especially since Facebook involvements. Maybe the banking side will evolve a lot, or maybe it will be the B2B side and every company will want to have their supply chain on the blockchain. I mean, it can be anything. So right now, the only thing we can do is take options, try to review, and seize the opportunity when it will happen.
Great, that's great. Can you dig and just to address a quick one, XRP minute came a little bit late, potentially missed the point to find out how you're funded. XRP minute, they had mentioned that they are actually self-funded based on previous investment in mining within the digital asset space. That's accurate, right, guys?
Yes, so we are totally self-funded. We are totally self-funding since the beginning of the project. We of course, have some of our crypto that we hold, so potentially we can sell it. But transparency for us is very important. So we are not selling our crypto, and we have built a dedicated tracker so that our community can follow how the funds are used, how the airdrop is used, how the teams, because we also have some funds for the team which are locked. So transparency is very, very important, and I hope we will have some time to cover it. But as far as of today, we are fully self-funded. We are reviewing the possibility to do a seed round at some point. We do not plan to do any ICO. From the start, we really thought that it would not be the best opportunity, and we are glad we did it, because again, now we're in a phase where we are comfortable. We don't have any investors beside our own community, so it's much easier to. We don't have to deal with the one Binance people, if you see what I mean.
Yep.
So right now, fully self-funded.
Okay. Oh yeah. See, I think that's fantastic, and we were talking about that a little bit before. I think that really brings a lot to the table, to really show, how serious you guys are about developing the space, and now that you guys have, a lot of skin in the game on that, obviously you have a lot of motivation to make sure that this thing blows up, and does something amazing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I just wanted to bring up too. So as Guillaume said, we have a funds tracker, because I've noticed with different coins that people are asking, like, do you have enough funds, like, or like, how much of the team allocated funds do you have? So on our website and our Explorer, we have the funds tracker using reserve proofs, so you can basically see exactly how much of the team percent that we still have. The other thing, I don't know if we brought this up yet, but the the coins for like the team, like us, like working, how most of them are like 6 months, then it gets unlocked to the team. Ours is based on the market cap. So as of right now, none of us have gotten any coins if we haven't actually bought them off the exchange. Once we get to a $10 million market cap, we'll get 20% of the 5% that was allocated towards us, and from there it goes to 100 million market cap at 1 billion. So there's a very good chance we're not going to see the last 2 or 3 tiers of that. But that also shows to the community that we're driven, and this isn't just in 6 months to a year we get coins, and
Right. Yeah. That
because
you're just
that's a concern I see on Reddit and different coins that I invest in and stuff. So
yeah, just in it
yeah.
for the quick get rich
Yeah,
quick and bail. Yep. I think that is very important. And I think that also shows character of what you guys are work. Shows your individual character, but shows the character of the approach of the business mindset that you're there to develop long-term technology and not just trying to find a way to throw something out to get people to really just get rich off of the short term. So on that, I think it's interesting, and maybe I was wrong on this, but I swear when I first started looking at X Network, your market cap was like 1.7, and I was telling the XRP Minute about it, and then we went back on, we were looking at it. I said, "Holy crap! They just went from 1.7 to 3.7." Did I miss something? Is that true, or is maybe I wasn't paying attention when I looked it up?
No. I think you did pay attention. I mean, there are several things. So first of all, I personally myself, I don't watch and follow too much the market cap.
Yeah.
Because it's important to stay focused, and if we deliver a good product, the market cap will mechanically increase, and that's more or less what has happened over the last year.
Yep.
But to give you the full picture on the market cap, yes, we are in a very good momentum right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we have delivered something specific in the last month, but basically we are just trying to create some awareness, going on YouTube, things like this, things that we haven't done over the past years. So people are just hearing about maybe we are worth a bit more than a 1 million or 2 million market cap. So I think right now we're just in a good momentum. There is absolutely no liquidity in the market. You know how these small coins, also known as shit coins, work. There is no liquidity on the buy side and the sell side. So I think we have had like something like $500,000 or $600,000 of volumes over the past month, which is not that much. And still, because of the low liquidity, it has just created a huge spike. I do want to mention still that we have no fake volume. We really ask the exchanges to not put any fake volume, and whenever we witness fake volumes, we ask them to stop. Our team has a good experience in markets, so that's why we are able to track that. So people, because I hear sometimes people saying you have low volumes. Well, it's all relative. I mean, right now we have about $150,000 of daily volumes, so that's about 3% of our market cap. So I think it's just like any other coins, like Bitcoin, for instance, if you take out all the fake volumes. So I think the liquidity is decent. But no, you haven't missed anything. I think there is a good anticipation for the delegated proof of stake, which will generate some segregation of the coin mechanically. So I think people are trying to buy, and you know how it works. And we are in crypto, so it's all about FOMO.
Yep, exactly. So let me ask you two questions, follow up kind of to that. One kind of related, but so sincerely, George asked a question. She said, if you're able to partner with any blockchain organization or group, who would it be?
It's a very interesting question. I think once we have delivered all our technology, it will be a lot clearer for us who we want to partner with. Right now, I think we really have some added value on the payment side. The public and private transactions, the type of consensus that we have developed, which I think is better than Facebook's Libra, for instance, and of course, the scalability with the sidechains, because not many projects have unlimited scalability, and for sure, not many projects have all these three combines. So I think we can, on this side, we can really look for either financial institutions, maybe banking corporations, things like this, and then on the sidechain components, it's really going to be the use cases that will develop, that will define our clients. For instance, we have been looking at tokenization for a while, and we think we have added value on that. So we could tokenize pretty much everything, funds, things like this. Now the question is, do we want to dig more into this and really go to the bottom of this? We are also looking a lot into the voting. Voting is a really interesting use case, because with our technology, we are able to do public and private voting. So we could do very interesting things like shareholders elections, shareholders meetings, votings, even political elections at some point. I don't think it's tomorrow that we'll have the 300 million of people living in the US voting on the blockchain, but who knows, it's more of a long shot. So I think honestly, it's a bit too early for us, and it will be too pretentious to say that we want to partner with these guys and with these guys, because we are way too small. So we need to keep on focusing.
Appreciate
And
that.
as we get bigger, we will it will make more sense for us to discuss with people and to look more into this.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm getting some really good comments here. You know, we've got XRP Minute. You know, said he really likes your team. Sincerely, George is saying the same thing. You know, I think it's really your synergy and the things that you're saying, and really just a lot. I think it's important. It's really important and impressive to see. Not just your dedication, but your sincerity of everything is really key.
Thank you. I mean, we have very warm comments that are coming to us either on our channels, on Discord, on Telegram, and whenever we see these comments, it's for us the best type of remuneration, because we are working so hard. And when we see people that we are humans, so when you see people recognize your work and admit that maybe these guys are not so shady after all, it's always very positive for us. So thank you very much for these positive comments.
Yep, that's great. That's great. So all right, let me just follow up, and hopefully you guys still have a little bit of time. I know we're coming up on an hour, and I know you guys are working there on a Saturday, and we dragged Zach out of bed at 5 a.m. So it's time to go take a jog around the block or something. And he doesn't drink coffee, which is even more impressive. He's up and working, and that's great. So, but just some follow up to this. Which I think is would be important, and before I want to talk a little bit about and I don't know if I want to go too deep into this, but all right, let me just sidetrack a little bit. So I don't have a ton of exposure into regulatory clarity or government regulation over in France. You guys are developing and building within that space. What can you tell everybody about what you're running into in terms of government potential issue over in France specifically?
Okay, so I will answer this one as well, and I'm sorry because I'm talking way too much. Usually, I don't drag the attention so much on me, but this is a question for me. So. As a former trader, I have a bit of experience with, KYC, markets compliance, and that kind of thing. So being compliant is really important for us. And to that extent, we have already started discussion with the French SEC, the AMF, so Autorité des Marchés Financiers, to make sure that, we comply with whatever current and upcoming regulations. So you might be aware that France is quite active in the regulatory space. I think they are doing very, very interesting stuff. For instance, they just released a full regulatory framework on ICOs. So right now you can do an ICO in France and get stamped by the French SEC if you want to do it. Nice. And that's very interesting because it grants you many things. Of course, it grants you their approval. So in terms of image, it's interesting, but also it gives the banks the obligation to give you a bank account. They cannot refuse you. So actually, that's very interesting. So even French president and minister of economy said very interesting things about blockchain and cryptocurrency. So we are very active, and that's also one of the reasons that we choose to stay in France, because we could have moved anywhere else in Malta and anything or anywhere else, but we think that Europe and more particular France are very active in the field of crypto, and that gives us a very good rationale to stay here.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. I find that the U.S. is definitely lagging behind in this space. I think that's definitely causing some issue due to the fact that they are dragging their feet in this space, as we see from what you're saying. With France, what's going on in France, also what we see going on in Switzerland. I think Switzerland is really taking the world by storm with some of the regulatory clarity and the freedom of working within the digital asset space. They want to see that technology grow. Unfortunately, the U.S. we're almost chasing companies out of the U.S. to go to places like France or Switzerland or Malta or what have you. Unfortunately. And hopefully that'll change in the near future. But that's really good to hear. That you're in a friendly environment. Yeah. So, all right. Let me follow up with this. There was something else I wanted to ask to get into. Oh, you know what? Okay, so Chip had a question here. He wanted, this is for the COO. Let's go to Paul on this one. Is it difficult to get everyone to work on the weekends? That's that's
Yeah, actually, it's not, because I wasn't the one to decide that we are working on Saturday. We just all happen to be in the office on Saturday because we want to work, and it happens also on Sundays as well.
Yep. That's great. All right, so let's see
So
what
you
else.
see, I'm very lucky to have this team. I don't even have to ask them to come. I don't even have, to give them more money or more X cash. They still come on weekend and they work. So it's a pleasure. We are tired,
Yep.
let's be honest, but it's a
Right.
pleasure to work with them.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's just just outstanding. I really appreciate you guys coming in on Saturday and taking your time to be on our stream on Saturday, and opening up and really having this more in-depth discussion on your company, on your direction, and everything else.
But we are extremely happy to be here, and we are the one who are thanking you guys for giving us this opportunity. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, one final question before we go, and maybe some parting comments from you guys, maybe from each one of you. But XRP Minute, he had a question here. The only wallet that your coin can be stored on, is it your own wallet for now? Are there any other ways to store Xcash? You guys hear that?
Go ahead, Zach, if you want to take this one.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, we have a custom GUI wallet that we built, and then we also have the CLI wallet. As of right now, those are the only options. But in the future, we plan to have the mobile, so you can have a mobile thing, and we are going to redesign the GUI wallet. But yes, as far as right now, those are from our website. Those are where you can get the wallets, which are on GitHub. You can download.
Okay, awesome. All right, so just to go around the table here, let's Zach, let's start with you, and we'll go up to Gillum. Let's start with you. Any parting comments, for the community, in terms of whatever you want to say?
Yeah, just follow our GitHub. You can see our work, and definitely follow the delegated proof of stake. We didn't really talk much about that, but that will be the next tech thing that we implement onto Xcash.
Okay, do you want to talk about that at all? Do you want to mention what that is, the delegated proof of stake?
Yeah, I can talk about it for a few minutes. So we right now we're on proof of work. Like most of the crypto, I think most of the crypto node coins are on a proof of work. CNV8 is the a base of the algorithm that we're using, but we customized it ourselves to stop the ASICs and stuff back in February. But the delegated proof of stake, um, those are BitShares was the first one to invent that in 2013. EOS is currently using it. A few other coins are using it. So we're making the switch to delegated proof of stake. With delegated proof of stake, we're also using delegated Byzantine fault tolerance. So you can look more on that. Neo's really the one who brought that into the crypto space, and it's a more secure way of doing um, the block minting process. And then we're bringing in verifiable random functions instead of a turn-based solution, because we think again it will bolster the security, with no one knowing which of the 100 delegates will be the next one to do the minting process. And then really the only thing besides that is for the staking solution. I know some use like smart contracts, some just use wallets. So we're using reserve proofs. And why we're using that is it allows like a user who has, I don't know, maybe like a million X cash or something, they're able to keep that balance in their wallet and at the same time stake it to a delegate. So they're in complete control of their funds all the time. So we don't have something where a delegate passes away or something, and all the money is stuck in a thing. So they're always in complete control of their funds as they're staking.
Great. Awesome. All right, that's great. And then, oh, there we go. Guillem, you mentioned that also. You announcements on Twitter. What is the Twitter? When I went onto Twitter, I don't know if I was looking for it. And how do you have it listed? You have the Twitter listed under your own.
What? Sorry. So what was the question?
So I guess just to find out, people want to know how they can continue to follow you. You
Yes,
guys,
so,
Telegram, Twitter, Discord, etc.
So we use Twitter basically as a hub spot to share news, but usually we write articles about like longer articles on Medium to have some kind of backlink to our website.
Okay. Yep.
And also we are present every day on Discord to have like more, direct discussions with the community. So actually, if you have more questions after this video, we can you can go on Discord and we can keep chatting because we will be there all day anyway.
Nice.
All and
Yeah,
mostly follow us on Twitter. That's the best way to have news, and Discord if you want to talk to us.
Yeah, and we take any questions. So like anything tech wise or whatever, I'm on there answering like paragraphs on Discord all the time. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions, you can always ask it on Discord.
Outstanding. Outstanding. So, okay, great. So we got those. I also put some links in the description of the video. They put some links in there with Xcash Crypto on Twitter. And, so you've got the Twitter, GitHub. If you guys want to post if you have a link to your GitHub, and how everyone's going to find you on Discord, if it's just X Network. I believe your Discord is X Network, X-Network. Is that accurate?
The Discord actually is X-Network.
Okay, awesome.
I put the link in the chat. Actually.
Did you? Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So, Zach, anything else that you want to mention? We'll go over to Paul. Go ahead.
No, yeah, that's about it. I mean, our goal is to build the tech out. Delegated proof of stake is the building block, because then that will help us do the side channels and the side chains. So yeah, just keep following us and see our progress.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Hey, Paul, parting words.
Yes. So actually, I want to take this occasion to thank you for the feedbacks that you gave us about the website. I just want to clarify that we are working on a new website. So some of the information can seem outdated. And also the website actually, we didn't use a web developer. Actually, I did it, and I have no background into web development. So that was only learning as I was doing it. Okay. So actually now we're working like with a real professional to have a better looking website, like the information like relayed out properly.
Yep.
So really excited for that. Keep you posted. I think it'll be ready maybe in a month, and we'll see from there. And also thank you very much for taking the time to have us today.
Okay, great. Yeah, I didn't want to bring up point by point what I'd sent you guys on the website, but but you guys got those, and I'm glad to hear your changes.
I can't wait to show you like the new website then.
Awesome. Yeah, I look forward to seeing it. Definitely look forward. So, Guillem, go ahead.
So yeah, one more time, I want to take this opportunity to thank you. Thank you very much for everything. And I want to invite all the people who are interested in our project to follow more about it. Not necessarily talking about buying coins, because as I told you, we don't really care if you buy coins. These coins will not come from our pocket. We are not active on the market, but it can help the ecosystem to do so. What we really need is involvement. We are a community project more than anything else. So don't hesitate to join us, to review, try to take a look on our GitHub, read the dozens of articles we have written on Medium. And if you have feedbacks, give them to us. We need these feedbacks desperately. We need the positive feedbacks and the negative feedbacks. And more importantly, if you're interested to go further, just help us to build this, because we need hands. We need smart people. If you work with us, you will also have the opportunity to work with smart people in their areas, so it can be interesting. And we are in the same boat.
Awesome. Hey, fantastic. Really appreciate you guys coming on today. Hopefully we can have you guys back on in the future and keep tracking your progress. I'd really appreciate that. For all the subscribers and followers out there, you know, that are watching, those that are on the live stream, those that are going to jump back in and watch the restream. Make sure you guys tweet this video out, you know, get the message out on X Network, get more people to watch the video. I think will be just really important to give them more feedback on the project that they're working on. If you haven't done so already, make sure you guys give a thumbs up to the video, and then of course, you know, leave some more comments after the fact on the video if you guys can. If there's any other, you know, feedback that you want to present to on X Network, really anything, that'd be great. And you know, with that, you know, we're going to be back on tomorrow night, Sunday at 8:30 p.m. doing another live stream. Open mic night is tomorrow. Send me a DM if anybody wants to be part of the open mic night to be first on. I believe Bubba Shipes is going to be with us. He was with Auburn Rain last night. And so looking forward to seeing everybody on Sunday. And then this coming week, we're going to be testing out the 8 p.m. Time slot. I know XRP Minute was streaming on Thursday at 8 p.m. I didn't have a proper stream on Wednesday due to technical difficulty. I'm really glad that today went well. First time using Zoom with X Network. Sorry to have you guys as our guinea pigs today, but I thought that everything went perfect. It was outstanding. And I'll definitely look forward to seeing everybody on Sunday. So if you guys just want to hang in there 1 second, I'm going to end the stream. So again, Sunday evening, 8:30 p.m. and look forward to seeing everybody then.